Connor and Marcus have the same argument every time they grab a beer. Same salaries, same debt, same $600 left over after the month takes what it wants. Connor says, destroy every dollar of debt before you invest a single cent. Marcus says, that is the most expensive mistake a person can make. They've both run the numbers, they've both shown each other the math, and they both genuinely believe the other one is quietly destroying his financial future. I know this argument from the inside. I was having it with myself at 27, in studio apartment, secondhand couch, $31,000 in student loans, and a spreadsheet I kept open on Tuesday nights because I was too wired to sleep. So today we run it properly. 10 years of real numbers, like not a podcast take, not a rule of thumb someone heard in a YouTube comment. There's one thing Dave Ramsey never says out loud, and the finance influencers never admit, because it makes their spreadsheets look stupid. The correct answer has almost nothing to do with interest rates. Connor and Marcus are both 32, same city, same $55,000 salary, same debt they've been dragging around since their mid-20s, $42,000, one of the most common combinations of consumer debt in America right now, with student loans, a car payment, and a credit card balance carried simultaneously. If that number feels familiar, it should. The only question is what to do with the $600. Connor goes all in. Every dollar attacks the smallest balance first, credit card, then the car, then the student loans, no investing, no exceptions, just forward motion. Marcus makes his minimums and automates the full $600 into a low-cost index fund. The S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10% annually over the long run. His debt costs him 5 to 7%. On paper, he earns more than he owes. On paper, he's ahead before he starts. Ramsey's actual sequence. Eliminate consumer debt first, then invest 15% of income. Not never invest. Order matters. The debt snowball, smallest balance first regardless of rate, isn't about math. It is about momentum. His words, if people did what was mathematically optimal, they wouldn't have credit card debt in the first place. He's not wrong. Let's prove it. The first 2 years are uncomfortable for Connor and comfortable for Marcus. Marcus checks his brokerage app once a week. The number keeps going up. He has a story, a position, something to talk about. Connor has a side gig and a rice cooker. His friends think he's being extreme. His girlfriend has quietly stopped suggesting weekend trips. He knows exactly what he's giving up. He's doing it anyway. End of year 2, here's the scoreboard. Marcus is about $1,000 ahead, and he got there while still living his life. On paper, he is winning. Comfortably. If this were the end of the story, Marcus wins. It is not the end of the story, because while Marcus watches his portfolio grow, something quieter is running in the background, on the other side of his balance sheet. Here is what that actually costs him. He is paying $110 a month in credit card interest every single month, whether the market is up 20% or down 35%. That charge hits regardless, guaranteed. He is earning 10% on $600 going in. He is paying 22% on $6,000 sitting still. That is not optimization. That is paying Visa to hold his money while he feels like an investor. His blended interest rate across all 3 debts sits around 8 to 9%. After taxes on gains and a taxable brokerage, his real after-tax return is closer to 7 or 8%. The spread between what he earns and what he owes is a thread. On the credit card, it is negative. He is losing money on net to maintain the feeling of progress. He is not investing. He is subsidizing lenders while calling it a portfolio. Month 37, Connor makes his last payment. $42,000. Gone. In just over 3 years. For the first time in his adult life, his paycheck belongs entirely to him. No minimum payment on the 1st, no interest charge on the 15th, no 3 different login portals, no weekend delivery bag. He closes the debt tracker for the last time. And just sits there for a minute. He builds a 6-month emergency fund in 4 months. Then he opens a brokerage account and starts investing not $600, but everything that used to disappear into debt. Connor monthly investment, roughly $1,265 a month. His $600 surplus plus all the minimum payments now freed up. Marcus is still at $600. Connor more than doubled his firepower overnight. Marcus, meanwhile, is still running 3 accounts. Credit card at 22%. Car loan with 2 years left. Student loans tracking toward month 84. Every financial decision he makes still starts with what he owes, not what he earns. He has more money in the market. He has less control over his own life. 10 years later. Here is what the math actually did. Marcus invested for the entire 10 years. Connor invested for less than 7. Most people expect Marcus to win by a mile. He started earlier. He never stopped. He let time do the work. Write down who you think wins before you look at the numbers. Here is what actually happened, Connor. Portfolio roughly $120,000 to $135,000. Marcus, portfolio roughly $105,000 to $125,000. Connor invested for 3 fewer years and still came out $10,000 to $17,000 ahead. 2 reasons. First, the $9,000 Marcus handed to lenders and interest went into Connor's portfolio instead. Second, $1,265 a month compounds significantly faster than $600. A 3-year head start doesn't close a 2.3 times monthly gap. It widens. But all of that assumes something about Marcus that almost never holds in real life. Every number in the 10-year comparison assumed Marcus was perfect. Invested $600 every single month, never missed one, never sold in a panic when his portfolio dropped 30% or more in a matter of week, which it will, because that is what markets do. Almost nobody does this, right? The data says so directly. S&P 500 returned roughly 10% annually over 20 years. The average real investor earned 3%, almost not 10, not 8, 3, 7 percentage points. Not because the market failed them, because they interrupted it. The average real investor earned 3%, not 10, not 8, 3. Marcus built his strategy on sand and called it diversification, and here is what makes Marcus's situation particularly fragile. He is still carrying debt, has no emergency fund, and has monthly obligations he cannot pause. When the market drops, and it will drop, he will feel it at the exact moment he can least afford to act on that feeling. Marcus is going to feel something. When he does, he is going to do something. And that something is almost always the wrong thing. Connor does not have this problem during years 1 through 3. He has no portfolio. You cannot panic sell something you do not own. Every dollar he puts toward debt reduces his balance permanently. It does not fluctuate with headlines. It does not require emotional discipline during a crash. And it does not depend on his state of mind on a bad Thursday after a rough performance review. That is the reason Dave Ramsey is right. The reason he never says out loud. He frames it as a moral stance. His critics respond with a spreadsheet. But the actual reason his approach works has nothing to do with morality and almost nothing to do with math. It is behavioral. It removes the single biggest threat to your financial future, which is not your interest rate, not your investment return, and not the size of your debt. It is you. So here's how I actually think through this. First, does your employer match your 401k? Capture every dollar of that match before you do anything else. Debt payoff included. A 50% match is a guaranteed 50% return. Nothing in this video competes with that. Take it. Everything else in this framework assumes you have done that already. Below 5 or 6% interest, the math favors investing through it. A sub 5% loan against a long-run 10% market return is a real spread, and if you're disciplined, the numbers work. Above 7 or 8%, eliminate it. That's a guaranteed tax-free return equal to your rate. The market can't promise that. The debt already does. Between 5 and 7%, like it depends on one variable that's harder to quantify than any interest rate. Are you actually going to invest that money? Not planning to. Actually going to automate it? Leave it alone, not sell it when the market drops 35% and every headline tells you to for 10 years, no exceptions, because if the answer is anything less than certain, Ramsey's path is the more reliable one, not because the math says so. Because your own track record already does. Connor attacked his debt like someone was about to cut the lights. Marcus played the long game, invested from day one, and trusted the numbers. After 10 years, Connor has the larger net worth. Not because he was smarter or luckier, because he paid less to lenders, invested more once he was free, and never faced a single forced decision during a market crash. He gave up 3 years of investing. He got back a decade of financial freedom. That trade only looks bad on a spreadsheet. The real trap is not paying off debt first. The real trap is not investing through it. The real trap is making a $42,000 decision on a half-understood rule from a podcast without running your own numbers, with your own rates, your own tax situation, and your own honest read of how you actually behave when the pressure is on. The best financial plan is not the one that wins on a spreadsheet. It is the one you actually finish. Run the numbers for your own situation. That's the Ben factor.